Hello, everybody, to another episode of Half a Clue TV Review. If you're wondering why this sounds so dark, dreary, and lifeless, it's because we just watched Ozark, which is itself is a dark, dreary, lifeless version of Sopranos and Breaking Bad. And I'm sorry for you fans who really love the show. I used to be a fan, but now I'm not. The series has ended. It fucked itself. My name is Philip. I'm your host today, and I'm here followed by
Ron, hey, I did not watch Ozark. I've never watched an episode of Ozark. I'm just here for the ride. So,
yeah, and now you won't probably after this review.
Honestly, I wasn't going to regardless.
Yeah, what if I said it was amazing? What's it called? Well, I piled up. It's like, oh my God, Breaking Bad levels.
Maybe if I heard that, but I heard most people were just like, yeah, it's pretty good. Oh, you should totally watch it. And I was like, oh, all right, I don't know. And then just as time has gone on, I've heard less and less of it, or even less good things of it. So I'm just like, I was like, why do I really have to invest my time into this? I don't want to.
I think overall, like for Ozark, I mean, you guys could hear our previous review, Ozark season 4, part 1. By the way, the part 1, part 2, fuck this shit. I please stop doing this. Just make one fucking season, or just make 2 mini seasons, fuckers.
But they can't. This is the trend that was started by HBO's, most acclaimed.
The Sopranos. So they have to really work
Actually,
that
I think
off.
it was Sex and the City.
Oh, no, Sex and the City did it too. Oh, yeah.
And then it was the Sopranos.
The Sopranos did it better.
What? You think the Sopranos did it better?
Sex and the City? No, you'd be surprised how much Sex and the City, like, their fandom is just, like, holds on to that as, like, the holy grail.
Oh, no, I know. But my sister was I grew up watching. It was funny. I think that was like the first HBO show that I watched was Sex and the City.
Oh my gosh.
Is my sister. I have an older sister who loved that show, and so she would like buy the seasons and then watch them because we didn't have HBO.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'd share a TV, so I was like, fuck, like I guess I'm watching Sex and the City. I don't know. It was just like it just never had any interest. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Sex and the City.
We're talking about Ozark, which is 10 times more. I would actually rather watch Sex and the City than Ozark. It's on our previous review of season 4, part 1. We talked about like how generally we felt, and also like the critical reception too for the show, where it's like season 1 was kind of saw as like a satisfying Breaking Bad inspired show with a pretty compelling episode where it just was really quick, fast paced. The second season,
interesting.
Not necessarily better, but it expanded. It made itself very different because like the Anna Gunn Skyler character in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Imagine they decided to take a different approach where like she's no longer like half compliant accomplice, but
she's
now
like,
she's actually like the driving force of the narrative.
Nice.
And actually, the Walter White character, so Marty Bird in this case, takes a step back. So it's like Wendy Bird show. And in the third season, we finally, after teasing the cartel leader Omar Navarro for like 2 seasons, we finally see him in the fray. And we see the big bad. We see basically he's a Gus Fring of this universe.
I'm gonna say, did they have like WWE intro music, like as he walks out? Like,
well, there was something as he was walking too, and like he's in this big cathedral. The Ozark
Here he comes, brother.
The Ozark version of Energy, which is like slowly walking.
Let me guess, there was like some kind of harmonizing in the background.
Yeah,
it was like big dramatic. Sounds more like John Wick, honestly.
Yeah. And it was great because that season also introduced. Do you remember in Iron Fist, the brother? He's like the brother. He's like the best friend of Iron Fist.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh shoot,
Tom
I forgot his
Pelphrey
name
or something.
Yeah,
the actor's name. But he's he's in
like,
the show and he's fantastic. Like,
okay.
Finally, he's unlocking his true abilities.
That's so great because he was so wasted in Iron Fist. It was like, wow, this guy seems like he's got some talent. And too bad he's on this show.
So he's on there as Wendy Bird's brother who has a bipolar disorder.
Oh no!
Right, but he's still so lovable at the same time, and obviously having a bipolar disorder character in a drug cartel show or anything is like that unpredictability factor where he's just telling everybody, where he's just like, they're in a drug cartel.
Things are gonna get spicy,
and it was great, and that added a layer of tension to it. So I was like, so it's like season 1, 2, and then like season 1's like at the bottom, season 2 is a little higher. like this was different at least. And season 3 was like, oh, peak. I was I would be like, I genuinely would be like, okay, this is the season that I think I could recommend to anybody.
Is it? What would you compare it to, like, in terms of Breaking Bad, like in terms of their seasons? Because obviously they're just like, for them it's a very, like, it gets kind of better and better. I think increases. Like, so would you say it's like,
I would say season
their
3
peak?
I would say the season 3 is like equivalent to like in terms of quality, like a season 4 of Breaking Bad. But never like, but then like it's, I was expecting season 4 to be like season 5 quality, right? Things are coming down. We're finally seeing this. And I'll say this, part 1, I was like, it started off like, I hate it because they did the in media res, or we find that's not an in media res. It was literally one of the final shots of the season, where it starts off with the family, the Bird family, and they get in a car crash.
Oh,
and then it's trying to call, and then I'll just say this up front: that car crash was bullshit, because we find out that it was just to pay off a line or a joke that Marty says in the beginning, that, oh, this Honda, whatever, this SUV is the safest SUV in America. So they have a car crash and they all come out fine. And of course, I think there's a whole point to saying that life is unpredictable and stuff like that. But it's such a throwaway thing that, and it kind of deflates the tension of the first part, because I'm like, oh, so they're not gonna die.
Yeah,
they're gonna be fine this entire thing.
Sorry, that kind of reminds me of the Jaguar joke in like Mad Men. Do you remember that? Like when they finally get an account for Jaguar, and then they're just
the car,
yeah. The running thing throughout the season is like, these cars suck, like they don't seem to turn on. They all got all these issues, like, whatever. And then at the end of the season, the character attempts suicide by, like, using the exhaust from the car, and then he can't turn it on. He's just like, son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, but that works so much better though.
Yeah,
right?
And that was some pretty dark humor too. That was like,
oh gosh. Oh man, one day we'll cover that. There's a legacy thing. Like if we're lacking content, we'll do this.
If we get John Hamm on, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about
yeah. You hear that, John? You want to come on? Let us know.
Which is also, John Hamm is a better show than this one too. I'll just not John Hamm.
John Hamm. Yeah, John Hamm.
Endlessly more entertaining than Ozark. But so it actually started off well, because now we're introduced to a different type of character that we see. He is he is actually very Gus Fring in a sense, but like a lot more unpredictable. And like, if Gus Fring, just as intelligent as Gus Fring, he's a nephew of the cartel boss, and he's very ambitious. He's very educated. He has a hot temper, but he is smart, and he is cunning, and he is and he went to business school, right? Nice. And he's very well educated in all different languages. But at the same time, he really hates the main characters.
Gotcha. All he's got is his word and his balls, and he don't break them for nobody.
So his name was Javi, and then he was such an interesting mix to the thing, right? Where he's like, he doesn't know exactly what's going on between Omar, because at this point, Omar Navarro wants to make a deal with the FBI, where he's like in charge of the cartel.
Okay.
But at the same time, like because FBI, crooked people as they are, they want the money from the seizures and stuff to fund the organization, give everybody bonuses, but also at the same time keeping controlled, like kind of like we all watch Sicario, right? Where like a controlled aspect of the drug cartel, as long as it doesn't bleed into the U.S. and the crime is what's it called, mitigated.
Yeah, it doesn't affect us. Who cares?
Yeah, so they're just like, okay, so we'll make a deal. We won't put you on the wanted list as long as you keep the drug seizures going and stuff like that, and the money seizures to help finance the FBI, and they will do it. But Javi doesn't know about it, but he's getting an inkling, and he's like unknowingly like one-upping them and their deal, just because he feels like he's one-upping FBI, but not knowing he's one-upping his uncle. And then there's like this weird unintentional cat and mouse game that's kind of going on between all the parties.
Okay.
But then like it's and also he's so unpredictable, and he really like, he doesn't want to, he knows he can't kill the Jason Bateman Marty Bird character, because he's very useful, intelligent, but you can tell every task he's just itching to kill him. Like his hands are twitching to kill, and he's like flirting with like
sounds like Gus mixed with like what's his face,
like
Tuco.
Gus mixed with Tuco, like pretty much, it's pretty much like that. And then like and
see that shit.
But he's super prideful, but he only acts on his pride when he's like, okay, it's safe to act on my pride and my psychopath nature. Yeah, so it's he was cool, but guess what? And then and he follows through on his words, which like he kills some of the, which I was actually disappointed that happened, but whatever. I was like, because there's a cartel, but there's also like the local threats. Like there's this family called the Snell. It's interesting to have Ron here. I'm trying to explain the show.
Yeah.
The Snell family, which is like
Snell.
yeah, they're like the Ozark. They're like the Ozark cartel, and there's like the Casey mob and stuff like that. Which I'll get to the Casey mob in a bit.
Oh God! Oh no! I've gone cross-eyed.
The Snell family, which they were interesting. They're like their own brand of psychopathy, redneck, or just like anything like American crime aspect to this show.
Okay.
And then what's it called? She's this older lady who just her answer to everything is just killing people with a shotgun. Like, oh, you're having a mini argument, get a gun. Her husband doesn't disagree with her, poison her coffee.
What is this, Janice Soprano?
I know, pretty much. Like, that's the thing. She's like Janice Soprano turned up to like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of the show. And so like I thought she was gonna be the major villain going in, being the unpredictability factor. But Javi comes in, the nephew, and he just like kills her. Just like why has someone just not shot her?
Well done, Javi.
Yeah, and he just shoots her, and then also, but he shoots the cousin of I think many people's fan favorite character, Ruth. I don't know if you heard of her. She's a curly hair girl, the blonde girl.
Nope.
No. So Ruth is like
I know Jason Bateman is in the show.
Yeah, and Laura Linney, right?
Yes, and Laura Linney.
Yeah,
of course.
she's great, by the way. She is like what's it called?
I'm glad to see both of them working, honestly, and on a show
doing
that
really well. That's
yeah,
like Emmy nominated all the time and
yeah,
stuff like
good
that.
for them because I like both of them. So thumbs up to you.
I would say if anything, Laura Linney's like enough for this show because it's such an interesting wife character.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, just bogged
Sounds
down.
like she's more than just a wife character, though.
No, I know exactly. It's like a twist on the wife character.
Yeah.
No longer the accomplice. She's actually running the show, and Marty's the bitch.
Nice.
It was, yeah. No, I'm serious. Like Marty is like, no. Then I'm not even meaning this to be like cruel or sex. At the end, like I think one of the cartels like, you're the bitch now, aren't you? And he's like, and he just gives a look and he nods, because he's just in the background. But okay, well I'll get to that bit.
Anyway,
so one of the fan favorite characters is Ruth Langmore, who is played by who won 2 consecutive best supporting actress at the Emmys, and her name is the actress name is Julia Garner. So she plays a Ozark native, super hardcore accent, but she's smart in her own way, but she's not educated, right?
Because it's gonna sound. I hope this isn't too
This is
basic of a question,
Jesse
but
Pinkman.
no. What is Ozark?
Oh, Ozark.
Like, what is that?
Oh, Ozark is just a place.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Where?
it's a place in the it's like Lake of the Ozark is in the region of Central Missouri.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
that's what it's just called.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
Continue. Yes, to this Jesse Pinkman character.
Yeah, she's essentially a Jesse Pinkman character, but I would say different enough that it didn't bother me. But she is Jesse Pinkman. She's a lot more ambitious, a lot more ruthless, and she has the difference between her and Jesse Pinkman is that even though Jesse Pinkman has it too, but family and like the tragedy of family and the importance of family is a much more essential part of her character than Jesse Pinkman.
Are you sure this isn't Vin Diesel instead?
Oh, I know exactly. Can you imagine? I would love to see her in Fast and Furious. She's like, okay, Vin. It's like family's important to me too. Just.
Is that how she talks?
I was like, I know it's a bad impression.
I can't imagine that's how anybody talks.
It's a bad impression of her. I'll just say that. But she does have a heightened accent, but it works for her character.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then, so she's what's it called? She's kind of the Jesse Pinkman character. She's running. She's learning a lot more stuff. Became a lot more educated, being a lot more ambitious, and it's really cool to see how much her character progressed. But I'll talk about part 2, how they shit the character. But at the end of part 1. One of her only 2 remaining family members that are alive because her father was killed by Wendy.
Yeah.
Her lover, she was in love with Wendy's brother Ben, the what's the guy from Iron Fist?
Oh
the
no.
bipolar disorder, which was also killed by Wendy.
Oh no.
She's a cold ass bitch. She killed her own brother. And and her 2 uncles. Well, she killed her 2 uncles, so that's her fault.
God. Wendy, no.
No, I mean Ruth killed her own 2
Oh,
uncles.
Ruth.
Yeah. And then, so Wyatt, who's like her favorite, family member ever, and he's like kind of smart, but he's also like very sweet and innocent, and also oddly enough, he's like like 18, 19, and he falls in love with the Darlene Snell character I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, and Darlene Snell's like 68.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it gets weird.
Got a little Mink and Morty
Yeah,
going on there.
and then it's hard. It's like psychopathic Harold and Maude.
Harold and Maude.
Yeah.
Sorry, what the fuck was I?
So, but you know, their marriage is between the two is cut short because Javi kills them both. And that was the cliffhanger for part 1. She sees their death and she's like, I'm gonna go kill Javi. Like, I was like, you gonna have to kill me. I'm gonna kill him. And I was just like so excited. Okay, so what's gonna happen? It's gonna be Javi versus Ruth the entire season, and Ruth is just like, what's gonna happen? Is Ruth gonna get taken out?
This could go anywhere.
Yeah, and then so immediately, like in the first like 30 minutes of the episode, she like kills like the who we thought was gonna be the central antagonist for season 4. She kills Javi in like the most climactic fashion ever.
I'm outraged.
Yeah, it's just like
I can't
it's just
believe
like
this.
this like she's just like she's like, okay, call him up for the meeting. She goes, she shoots him 3 times in like in a wide shot, and he just falls, and then she walks away.
Oof.
And I'm just like, okay, that's cool. So you just like, and one thing you'll know about the show is that they love to like replace villains like every season. But then they were doing good because they were like keeping characters like alive for more than one season. So I thought, okay, Javi's she's gonna be the unpredictable factor, right? And suddenly out of nowhere, I've never introduced to this character. What you get introduced to his mom. Like as soon as they introduced his mom, like talking on the phone, I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna die, isn't he? The mom is gonna be the new central villain and stuff like that. And I was like, why?
That's like, hey, I kind of it can be done well, but I feel like it's so easily overdone and done poorly where they're just like introduced a family member character.
Like I would have been okay if the mom was introduced like in season 3 at least by season 3.
Yeah, something
like because she
established.
She's just there, Omar, and then just like, so as soon as she was on the phone call, she's like, oh, be careful, Javi, you never know, in 2 days something might happen, hint hint, you'll die.
Yeah. And
I'm just like, why? And so she comes in with like a gun, shoots him 3 times, and just leaves in the most anticlimactic fashion ever. Instead of drawing this out where it could have been like a Ruth versus Javi situation, and Javi's deal with like, because he's so unpredictable and he's also so hot tempered and hot headed. Yeah. The deal with the because he, in the end, what happened is I didn't mention this. Actually, this might be good because now it's like for people who haven't watched the show, I'm like explaining it. But at the end of season 4, part 1, like the deal with the FBI falls through for Omar Navarro. So instead, because this Agent Miller character, which I'm not gonna talk much about, she's a moral compass. She's like, I'm not gonna hand it. So she arrests Omar publicly, so he can't make the deal. So as a result, the deal with the FBI goes to Javi. Yeah. So now Javi is like the head of the cartel and
an FBI informant.
And kind of like that, or FBI compliant, where like, you know, just giving some money, basically giving money to the FBI. Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens? It's like it's just like, okay. It's just weird. And now just like the whole deal, like it would have been nice to see what happened if like how that deal would have been fucked up with such an unpredictable. But he gets killed and immediately replaced by the mom, who's now like the new central head. She's on a warpath to kill people, and now she's just like, she's basically like kind of like a more stable Wendy Bird on the Mexican cartel side.
Okay.
And
I thought you were gonna say like Jason Statham and whichever Fast and Furious movie he came out of nowhere to be the
you know what, actually that's a good comparison. And then it kind of just evolves into just like a mishmash of them trying to like and suddenly they added the storyline of their kids getting taken away by Wendy's dad, who comes out of I mean, he was established, but now he's coming in and he's taking away the kids, and this is taking away the time. Like the kid's storyline takes away time for the main drug cartel storyline, and becomes super convoluted. And like it's like we all knew like the kids would just stay with the parents, and they spend like half the season of part 2 on that storyline, and it just wasted so much filler time. And Omar was just there. All Omar did was like, when am I going to get out of prison? He does sound like a French guy, but just like he talks like this. Oh, Wendy. That's his favorite word. Wendy. And
That's Laura Linney's character.
yeah, that's Laura
Okay,
Linney's character.
yeah.
So like, that's all he did the entire season. There was like, and Camilla was like, she was threatening, but she just like, she was introduced so late that she was like, and she was uninteresting because she just like was cold and calculated. But how many cold and calculated characters have we seen in crime shows?
I
Not
could
much
only think
of 900
of like,
1,000.
yeah, just off the top of my head, you know.
Yeah, it was so it was lame, and it was just basically just like a battle between, and then Ruth was kind of getting into her own, and she took the Missouri Belle Casino, which they used to launder money from the birds, and the birds
Yeah.
were kind of devolving and stuff like that, and it just became like this escalating events of things that would already happened in the past previous seasons, repeating the same themes of like how money corrupts the mind, how money corrupts family, what's it called, the effect of crime on familiar relationships, on morals. When is enough ever actually enough? Like all the stuff that we've seen before, and it was great to see Laura Linney, but she was doing the same shit in the past 3 seasons. And in the end, like it's some of the most unsatisfying. So Ruth gets killed by Camilla because she finds out that because at first they try to lie and say that Omar, the brother, killed Javi.
Yeah.
But then so she tried to kill Omar, but she was like, yeah, something's off, and she found out it's Ruth. And then so she kills Ruth in like the most anticlimactic fashion, and try to make it climactic by doing slow motion.
Yeah.
Even though they're building up this entire
Oh.
series with like,
That's the worst. You can't just add slow motion to make it
It's
dramatic.
yeah, she just comes up behind the car, shoots Ruth, this character, her fan favorite.
Oh.
And then like surprisingly, like, cause and the birds, like, who always talk about she's like almost like a surrogate daughter.
Yeah.
Like I get it, cause like, you know, if they were just like, they, you know, surprisingly Wendy was like, oh, let's kill fucking Camilla and fuck up our entire deal to save Ruth, and you know they didn't, obviously. And the ending, let me just get into, so they kill off Ruth in a super unsatisfying fashion.
Yeah.
And I'll just get to the ending and wrap this up. Because I don't want to waste any more words on this. The ending is another classic Sopranos ripoff, cut to black. So so far there's like this detective character or private investigator that's been investigating the family, who is also such a waste of time. He's kind of like the Hank character, you know, investigating the family slowly.
You mean Asac Schrader?
Yeah. But I mean, like, he's not related to them, but like they try to buy him off by giving him, like, because he was a former disgraced cop who was really good, but he just did a lot of coke.
Yeah.
So they finally got his job back at Chicago PD.
That'll get you. Yeah.
Exactly. And then but then he's the moral compass. So he comes in at the end, and he actually found the ashes, or the, like, which I guess they went to a shitty crematorium, because there's still, like, you know, bits and bone pieces of Ben in like this little jar.
Yeah, I guess that can happen.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. So like he went to that. He's like, I have all the evidence now to put you in jail. You guys don't get to win, right? He's like, you guys don't. That's not how the world works.
keep getting away with this.
Yeah, pretty much. That's just to keep in mind. And then, of course, it ends. And then I don't know why he just wouldn't just turn in the evidence. I just felt like such a stupid thing for this guy to do. So and then Jonah comes in, who's like the son, right? Who's basically Marty Bird Jr., Jason Bateman Jr., super smart and stuff like that. He was like oscillating between loyalty between family and his ethics. So he has a shotgun, puts it towards the detective's face, and you know Marty's all smiling like, yeah, he's choosing the family. Fuck yeah, psychopath. And then it cuts to black and you hear a gunshot. That's the ending.
That's season finale? Series finale.
So how does it feel? Are you in I might be butchering for the fans who are like, it makes sense because it shows how like money's like corrupting people generational. Like, it's so deep. You don't know, Philip. You don't know. What's it called? I'm sorry if I'm mocking you guys. Trust me, I really loved the show up until like this final part. So based on what I said, let's just wrap this up. How does this compel you to watch it? What do you think of the ending just by me telling you?
I will say everything leading up to probably the last season or so, or, you know, parts 1 and 2 sound, you know, like kind of interesting to me. Not that interesting. I feel like I don't know. Like, I feel like I get like a mix of like a House of Cards meets like Breaking Bad kind of vibe almost. Yeah. just because like the dark kind of dreary atmosphere, the female kind of led darkness. I don't know. And then like obviously the crime family, the whatever. I don't know. It's just it sounds okay, but the finale definitely sounds not very satisfying. But who knows? Maybe in 20 years, people will be discussing how brilliant the Ozark series finale was.
Right, but it was like it just wasn't done like at least The Sopranos was done. I'd say too much, but it was done very artfully, where it's just like you could tell the shots were very planned out. The pacing, the music, the "Don't Stop Believing."
I mean, yeah, there is so many layers to that final season, and especially the final episode and that final scene where it's just like everything kind of feels like it's culminating into one moment. Where it's like there's all these kind of like callbacks and like moments that are like foreshadowed beforehand and everything that lead to that final moment, and people are still debating about that ending to this day. And that just kind of shows how crazy impactful it is. This one, and again, to be fair, I haven't watched the series at all, so I'm not really anybody to comment too much on this. But it sounds like it's kind of like, I don't know, like if you're gonna try to follow in the footsteps of like a show as legendary as The Sopranos, like dude, I don't know, you got to really step up and like really kind of go into that. I don't know. It's like I know we just talked about Mad Men before, but I feel like Mad Men like captured kind of the essence of what the Sopranos finale was, in the sense that how it ends. It just kind of just ends with like Don meditating and then the Coca-Cola commercial.
It's still one of the better endings I've seen in like a TV show.
Yeah, but it's like in the sense that it's like it is a pretty cold, like kind of boom, just everything's over, but they kind of do the work to like let all the pieces beforehand kind of fall into place. Most of the storylines are tied up at least. This sounds it's just more abrupt. I don't know,
with no thought, like not as much thought or planning.
Yeah,
or there's no ambiguous nature to it too. The kid shot the detective.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuck this show. Okay, so my final rating for part 2, I put it bargain bin. I was only gonna put shit bucket, but that would be too much. But overall, the series, season 1 was streaming with ads. Season 2 was streaming with ads. Season 3 was on the shelf. Season 4 part 1 premium streaming. So overall, I'll give the series streaming with ads. Yeah.
Okay, so you heard it here, folks.
It's a definitive fucking rating, guys.
Ozark, as rated by one guy who's watched the whole show and another guy who I didn't rate it. I'm not going to, but but yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Honestly,
I hope you enjoyed it.
It was our first time, I think, doing an episode where one person hadn't watched it, but Philip was explaining it to me and I was reacting to it. I don't know. If you like that, I guess let us know. Yeah, would make things easier for at least 50% of us.
Let's not make this happen. Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you.
Bye.